Ooh baby, this is a big one. Kirby Superstar is a compilation of 5 Kirby games, including a remake of Kirby's Dream Land, and 4 mini-games. Now that's a lot of stuff to review all at once, so let's do them individually, starting with the Dreamland remake named Spring Breeze. It's essentially the exact same game, but with updated graphics and copy abilities, which makes it a good comparison. The graphics are obviously great, I don't need to get into that really, you can see for yourself how adorable Kirby's animations are and how lovely everything looks. But the thing to note is the size of the screen. If you remember, Kirby's Adventure zoomed out the camera a lot, but this game zoomed it back in. It strikes a pretty good middle ground of being able to see what's coming up ahead while having Kirby's attacks reach a decent way across the screen, which is something I didn't really go into before. Maybe some of you are wondering why it matters how far zoomed in the camera is. Well, the thing with having a zoomed-in camera is that you can't see much of what's coming up ahead. It would be frustrating to run into an enemy at the edge of the screen and get hit before you can react. But Kirby's Suck ability allows him to neutralize an enemy directly in front of him or eat a projectile. Exhaling does the same in the air. It's easy to react quickly to incoming threats, and the reach of Kirby's attacks is what makes that work. Kirby's Suck can basically reach from the middle to the edge of the screen in Dreamland. It's a very quick and easy way to stop danger coming right up in front of your face. In Kirby's Adventure, they zoomed way out and introduced the copy abilities. Now everything's different. Instead of reacting quickly to threats that are directly in front of you, you can see enemies coming and have to start timing your attacks. This makes things more difficult, though not that difficult, it's still a Kirby game. Now your quick reactionary move is much more likely to be used too early or to miss completely because of the relatively small screen real estate it takes up. And it's not so much the length of the screen, but the height. Your basic suck and blow aren't useful for enemies above and below you, and not a lot of copy abilities fire straight up. And if you're flying, you have to exhale before using your ability. It's messier. And get me right, I never said Kirby's Adventure was bad, but for comparison's sake, Kirby Superstar does it a lot better, going for somewhere in the middle of Dreamland and Adventure for camera zoom levels. It couldn't go full Dreamland because it still has the copy abilities and not all of them are useful for reacting quickly to an enemy directly in front of you. So considering all that, they really nailed it. Everything feels just right. Your moves don't feel over or underpowered in this size of screen, it's more suitable for a home console viewing experience, and best of all, you get to see Kirby closer up. So cute. The movement controls are also improved, feeling more responsive and smooth. It's an all-round improvement on the basics of the formula. I like that even the little cutscenes from Dreamland were recreated. It's a nice touch. I'm putting them side by side so you can see how nice the touch is. Kirby's Dreamland with copy abilities is piss easy, which is fine because it's being presented as a beginner challenge in the context of Kirby Superstar. On the main menu, each campaign has a difficulty rating, and Spring Breeze is the lowest, which makes sense. It's a very short game even without the copy abilities. One new aspect that I discovered here was the ability to recreate the enemy you consumed and have them follow you around as like a second player. You give up your power in the process, but it's generally worth it. Whether the second player is a human or a computer, there are distinct advantages to having one around. They can distract enemies, interact with buttons and switches, attack enemies of course, but there's the hidden utility of allowing you to carry around multiple copy abilities. All you need to do is selfishly murder them a second time and eat their disintegrated husk and the power is yours once again. You can even recreate them again to have them fight for you after you're done. It's really cool and useful. There's a lot of strategy potential, especially since the enemies have different moves than Kirby does when he's using those same abilities. You can kiss them too. Hey, it's just for sharing food, okay? It's just like what mama birds do, it's not weird. We're just sharing food. Yum 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 through the mouth. It's helpful, it's healthy. It's what everyone should do. Don't look at me like that. A lot of the time the computer AI does have trouble following you properly, and ends up falling into a lot of hazards and enemies, and in some situations can actually kill you if you aren't expecting to suddenly be carrying something when it warps back to your location. It's also kind of bad at aiming sometimes. Excuse me, bro? It's the other way. Look where I'm looking. Turn around, boy. Don't make me eat you. I'll eat you. And then there's the mild annoyance of having to really push to walk past them, but overall, it's a great addition to the game and a copy ability mechanic, and results in some really cool moments where you just decimate a boss. So with all that, Spring Breeze was a breeze. I actually went and replayed it without using any copy abilities to see if it was still easier than Dreamland, and it was. DDD was a complete pushover, mostly because the arena was big and I could actually move around without, getting stuck. Dyna Blade is the next campaign, which is the first totally original Kirby Superstar campaign, so unlike Spring Breeze, these levels will have been designed specifically for this version of Kirby. With 16 bits. What I mean by that is it's likely to show off the qualities of Kirby with these particular mechanics built into this particular game at this particular zoom level. See, the thing with sequels and remakes and stuff is the original is always going to have reasons behind everything that went into it. If you remake it without the knowledge or the intuition for why some game aspect was put there, you end up copying stuff for the wrong reasons or implementing it in the wrong way. Which is why I always like to see original content in a remake or a sequel or whatever. Things that were designed for this particular game. I don't really know why I made that point, but I have a feeling it's important. Dyna Blade is great, albeit straightforward. I mean, I think it is. There's a world map which appears to hint at levels having offshoots or alternate paths. So that's cool. I didn't find them. The end of level bonus is different. Instead of immediately having to jump off a spring, you have to time a button press when a bar is filled to get shot out of a cannon. I like this change a lot. It's very clear how close you are to being perfect, and you have all the time in the world to press the button. It's still difficult to get the timing perfect, but at least you have more control over whether you win or not. And man, look at all that destruction. The explosions in this game are really masterful. They provide excellently satisfying visual feedback for all manner of collisions and damaging moves, and even just going up and down bits of stuff. In fact, the whole game is littered with satisfying punchy animation. Even the mildest of direction changes results in a big old dust cloud. There's too many little things to point out, but it's worth taking a closer look to appreciate it all, because it's so good that you don't even notice it. It just sort of blends into the experience and infuses you with good vibes from beyond the fourth dimension. That's what all good animation strives to do, to elicit a wholly emotional response that the viewer can feel in their bones. Why am I making all these bold, analytical statements about the nature of video games and art in general? I swear it's not to illustrate a point or anything. I just feel strangely compelled to tackle broad design concepts when this game is the focal point. Maybe it's a testament to how good the game is that I think it's an acceptable jumping off point for discussing the very nature of art and entertainment. God damn it, I'm doing it again. Just shut up. Just shut up and enjoy the game. Who do I think I am, a neurosurgeon? The Dyna Blade campaign is fun and cute and cool and culminates in a spiffing battle with Dyna Blade herself. It's not too difficult though, Kirby Superstar in general is pretty easy. Although it was only 2 stars more difficult than Spring Breeze, so, it's not supposed to be hard. Oh, look what we have here. It's Dino Babies. Are you thinking what I'm thinking, Kirby? Yeah, you are. Push them off the cliff. Kill them. Actually, Kirby's just giving them a bite to eat. The tree doesn't seem happy about it. I don't know why. Isn't the whole point of fruit to entice animals to eat them and then shit out the seeds to grow more trees in various new locations? Kirby's killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Or rather, growing 3 birds with 1 or more apples, which will shit out new trees which will grow more birds. Wait, no. Gourmet Race! Run! Run! Eat food! Eat all the food before Didi does! Hurry, quick, run! Don't get the power-ups, they suck! Just go! Hurry, go! Just go and run and eat food! Oh, go, quick, run! I beat it. One of my favorite Kirby tunes is the Gourmet Race theme, and thinking about that made me realize I hadn't talked about any of the music in these Kirby games I've been playing. They're great! Lively, upbeat, fast-paced, cute tracks that are exciting and happy. I don't know how else to explain it, but every Kirby song is just delightful. Oh my god! What's that? Doesn't sound right. Great Cave Offensive music is a great offense to my cavernous ear canal. The Great Cave Offensive is one of the more unusual games. Instead of Kirby trying to save the world, he's just playing Terraria, going further and further down into the earth to find treasures and fighting bitches. There are 60 treasures in all, and a lot of them are hard to find, and they all require some sort of problem-solving, puzzle brain think power. The punishment for fucking up a puzzle isn't too stringent, you just have to leave the room and come back and it'll be reset. But simply knowing what you need to do isn't enough. A lot of these puzzles require mastery of the controls and copy abilities. You also have to keep a close eye on what your AI partner does, because they don't really understand the concept of not fucking it up, if you know what I mean. There are bosses in the cave, despite it not being a traditional adventure. You got the Whale Lord smoking a pipe, the RPG battle, the black guy, oh no. You gotta understand, they Japanese, they don't know. Let's talk about the RPG battle instead. That one's probably the cutest, most interesting boss in the whole game. It's modeled after old PC RPGs where different windows would show the health and sprite of an enemy. I don't know any actual games that are like this, I just assume that there's inspiration there. One thing I learned in a later iteration of this fight is that the mirror copy ability is insane. It reflects all projectiles without a cooldown. You can just sit there and hold the button and nothing will ever hit you as long as you're facing the right way. Since this boss uses only projectiles, it's completely unable to damage you if you use it, and you can just sit there and blow it up. The Great Cave Offensive is huge. There are many, many rooms to explore and pathways to go down. If you're not paying attention, you could easily get lost. It's quite implausible to 100% complete the cave in one try, so thankfully there are save rooms dotted around, indicated by the extra sparkly door entrances. More like the Great Save Offensive. Something I really like is that the very last level opens up a shortcut to the very beginning, so you can just keep going in loops until you've collected everything. Dude, it's just like Dark Souls! I love Dark Souls! This game is the Dark Souls of Kirby Superstar! Yeah! And while you're writing your comment, I'll transition on to the next game. The Revenge of Meta Knight! Dude, so meta. What? The campaign starts off with a bang. You're thrown right into the action, and other stock phrases. Dude, what is it with Kirby and evil enemy birds? Is an evil enemy bird, evil enemy bird, evil enemy bird. What's the fucking deal? Meta Knight and his cronies are on their way to wreak havoc on some people or something, and Kirby is having none of it. Those are my people, he says. Meta Knight is still such a curious character. He looks like a Kirby, and he helped and hindered Kirby in adventure, and now he has an airship with a bloodthirsty bird brain at the helm. Who is this guy? What does he want? He can't really be on a crusade to take over the world, can he? He just doesn't seem like the type. With all the dialogue boxes in this campaign, Meta Knight almost takes a back seat. The crazy guy seems to be the bird, who I can only assume is second in command. What is his goal? What does he want? I should watch the anime to get the full story, because of course that's where it's gotta be. But maybe another time, the games come first. I'm a video gamer, not a video watcher. The battle up to and inside the halberd is rife with thrills and explosions. It's very much a supercharged Kirby campaign. It's like a book you can't put down. This means it's over pretty quick, but I feel like it's just the right length. It's well paced, and the intercom chatter between Meta Knight's minions is really cool. To see them getting scared at Kirby's imminent approach really makes you feel like a force to be reckoned with, and drives you to go as fast as possible, as if you were posturing to make them pee their pants. Never before has being so cute felt so badass. I guess that's the appeal of Kirby in general, isn't it? Or at least of this game. When you get to Meta Knight, he says prepare to die. So I guess him being anything but actually literally evil is just wishful thinking on my part. He is written as a villain, and he looks like a villain, never mind that he's actually a Vegeta and is later seen enjoying a book. But right now he's a bad guy, there's nothing else to it. After you beat him, there's this extreme escape from the exploding airship. You ride one of the wheelie boys that you freed earlier from the engine room, which is funny in itself, you know, they're just wheels going around. It's like hamsters. Actually, why isn't it hamsters? There was a hamster in Dreamland 2, there could have been a whole bunch of hamsters, and then Kirby would have been on a hamster. And it would be like a cool... it doesn't matter. And the ship sinks into the ocean. You watch it glisten in the setting sun's sunny setting glistening shimmery shine, and fuck off down the bumpy road never to be seen again until the minigame Megaton Punch, where Kirby tries to destroy the entire planet for sport. What the fuck? I thought you were a good guy, Kirby. What are you doing? Popstar is not to be crunched. I thought I told you this. I thought I told you But you didn't listen. This is a simple timing minigame. The only annoying thing about it is when the AI decides to do their swing, because when they're done, the screen flashes white and it cuts to a crack they made in the planet, which can dramatically throw off my own timing. The other minigame is Samurai Kirby, which is essentially identical to the Western shootout game from Kirby's Adventure. Press the button as quickly as possible after the prompt appears. Both these games are fun, but they're clearly built for two players to test each other. You know, who's the best at pressing the button. I like them, but they're just minigames. Alright, enough gay sex. Let's get to the main event. After you complete every other game at your disposal, you unlock Milky Way Wishes, which is supposedly the hardest final battle of Kirby Superstar. And interestingly, it isn't merely a difficult version of a normal Kirby campaign. It has a new spin on the copyability mechanic that I think is the perfect implementation of such a mechanic that, as far as I know, didn't stick around, which is a shame, because I really like it. The idea is that Kirby is not able to steal copy abilities from enemies, but instead can learn them by finding the appropriate statues throughout the game. This essentially turns Kirby into Mega Man. Exploration is key to getting all the powers you'd want, and exploration sometimes requires specific powers. So you'll be backtracking to get some that you missed, but the feeling of progression and an ever-increasing arsenal of powers is just so satisfying. You're able to change them on the fly, so there's no annoying aspect of trying to desperately hold on to the right power in order to unlock a specific secret area. If you have the right power, you can just activate it when you get there. Though unlike Mega Man, they never run out. You don't have like PP for your whatever the fucking terminology is. It's really quite OP once you start getting a lot of the good ones. Like I said earlier, the mirror power is a must-have for the RPG boss. Milky Way Wishes is more than just a dispute about some bird eating too much food or a devilish airborne battleship about to rain destruction on a mere country. In this campaign, Kirby has to find a way to stop the sun and the moon from fighting. What is this, My Little Pony? In order to stop them, Kirby goes on a quest across the solar system, or galaxy, I'm not sure. He visits each planet and gets a star that he uses to unlock a big cat-face clock god? I don't really understand. From what I can piece together, this big guy Shenron grants wishes, so Kirby gathers the 7 Dragon Balls in order to wish for the sun and the moon to stop fighting. But before Kirby can say the words, Groucho Marx chimes in, wishing to be Undertale. And the guy is like, holy shit, okay, and he does it, and Groucho Marx invades the big cat face and goes to fight the sun and the moon. You know. Oh, I don't understand. And then Kirby's like, fuck. Shit. I'm dead in space. But then... he gets a starship! And he flies into the Death Star to defeat Mother Brain, and it's very cool. Oh, how cool it is. You might even say it's Super NES. After you destroy the inner core, you land on some space terrain to finish off Groucho. I really gotta ask, who the hell is this guy? I hadn't seen him anywhere else in the game, or any of the other games, and the fact that he's the final boss in the final game is just sorta odd. Where did he come from? What were his plans? Was it his idea to pit the sun and the moon against each other? There's no way of knowing. I guess I'll look it up and put text on the screen saying, what the fuck? So it turns out it's actually my bad. There's a cutscene of Marx saying, help do the sun and the moon thing, Kirby. This is what you gotta do. And it's a cutscene that plays before you press start on the title screen. And I had no idea that Kirby Superstar had this at all. Like in every mission, every little thing, if you wait like 5-10 seconds, you get a little cutscene of like what the fuck the story is. I just so happened to press start before that happened every single time. It would have been helpful to know whether, that Meta Knight is like, I want to take over the world. That would have been helpful. I could have made jokes about this funny DD face for the Gourmet Race. A big mistake for me. But now I know. Too late though, the whole video is about to be done, and I just learned this. So this is me putting in alright, back to the video. The final boss is actually really easy, especially since in this campaign, you have instant access to every copy ability you've found. So you never have to worry about not having the specific power you like using, or indeed, not having a companion, since you can make one and then regain the ability right away. So, you know, you've always got 2 players, you've always got any power you want, and if you do game over, you can just start from this part of the boss again. It's very easy. After you beat him, you win, and there's a nice credit sequence where Kirby is like, I'm happy now. And there we have it. Wait, there's more? Yeah, after the credits you get one more minigame. The arena. The final battle. The final battle. The final test of skill. Which is a combination of a boss rush and various packs of mini-bosses and small enemies. Knowing when to heal up is important because you only have so many tomatoes. There was this cool bit that I recorded where my companion almost had no health, and I had less than half, but the upcoming battle was probably going to be easy because it looked like just some mini-bosses. So I decided to not eat any more tomatoes and just went for it. And the first enemy we were fighting was a cook. Now the cook power-up is extremely valuable in a pinch. It can turn small enemies into food. It's a single-use power, but it only gets used up if it works. And in this situation, there was only one enemy on the screen at a time, and he was not able to go into the pot. So all I could do was clang my pots and pans together and have nothing happen, and I had to rely on my companion to do all of the damage. But he was about to die, and I didn't really know what to do. But miraculously, and I didn't know this could happen, but my companion, while in the brink of death, gained the power of the enemy we were fighting, and gained all of his health back, and then he killed the enemy, and I used the cook power to cook the corpse of the enemy, and I gained a bunch of food, which I healed myself with. I came back from the brink of defeat. It was awesome! And then I died later, stupidly, so fuck that. And that's it. That's Kirby Superstar. It's pretty good. Pretty great. It's a big step up in graphics and gameplay, though the difficulty is reduced quite a bit. I didn't die more than once to a single boss, I don't think. Not that that matters to me, the experience is tremendously fun and replayable, and I would recommend it to everyone. And 100%ing the Great Cave Offensive is kinda difficult, and the arena is kinda difficult, so there's levels of difficult stuff that you can do if you're a hardcore Kirby boy. Now, as to where I would put this in comparison to the others is another matter. There's a number of games within this game, so it's already at an advantage in terms of variety. So I think I'll have to treat the games separately, but that's also difficult because of how similar they are while having different spins on the game, and I don't really know how to compare them. But overall, I'd say Kirby Superstar is the best so far. There's too much good in it to put anything higher at the moment. As much as I love Dreamland 2 with the animals and stuff, there was still the extreme difficulty and annoyance of collecting some of the rainbow pieces, and also the Game Boy graphics just can't compete. So there we have it. Thanks for watching. If people want me to continue doing Kirby Month, and I know a lot of you do, I will do another Kirby Month, maybe next year or maybe earlier. I would kinda like it to be an October thing, that would be funny. But until then, patreon.com/Louis Batten. In the description, give me money for my hard-earned cash. I hardly earned this cash, and I really want it. So there we go. Alright, that's that.